Responsible AI design starts with three foundations. People can intervene, decisions can be explained, and system behavior can be inspected. Together, oversight, explainability, and transparency make AI controllable, auditable, and accountable. We've already built the foundation. ISO 42001, governance, risk, data controls, model lifecycle, and GenAI safeguards. Now we turn those controls into decision patterns, so people can understand AI outputs, challenge them, approve or override them, and audit what happened. This sets us up for operational MLOps and LLMOps. Governance becomes real when people can step in, understand outcomes, and see where AI is being used. Oversight, explainability, and transparency move AI from automated output to accountable decision-making. They create trust, reduce risk, and produce evidence that auditors and regulators can rely on. Human oversight is not just adding a person at the end of an AI workflow. It has to match the risk of the decision. Higher impact, greater autonomy, or harder to reverse outcomes need stronger review. Authority also has to be explicit. Who reviews, who approves, who escalates, and who remains accountable. Intervention points should exist before, during, and after the AI-assisted decision, not only when something goes wrong. Finally, capture evidence. What was reviewed, the rationale, any override, and the outcome. Without these choices, oversight can become rubber stamping, delay, or confusion. Oversight can take several forms. In the loop means a human approves before the decision takes effect, which fits high-risk or low-maturity use cases. On the loop means the AI operates automatically, while people monitor performance and step in when alerts, drift, or unusual cases appear. Over the loop is more strategic. Humans set policies, thresholds, and review metrics, then decide whether the system remains acceptable. The key architectural choice is to match oversight to risk and speed, and record that choice in the architecture decision record and risk treatment plan. Not every AI output should move straight into production. The workflow needs a controlled path based on risk, confidence, and policy sensitivity. Low-risk, high-confidence outputs may be auto-approved. Uncertain outputs move into an approval queue, where qualified reviewers validate them before release. Exceptions need explicit rules. Missing data, conflicting signals, policy violations, or low confidence should trigger review, rejection, or correction. If the case remains unresolved, the impact is high, or failures repeat, escalate to senior decision makers. Then monitor latency, workload, escalation rates, and resolution quality. For high-impact AI-assisted decisions, governance should prevent any one person from pushing an outcome through alone. Dual control means sensitive actions require two authorized reviewers, especially when the decision is irreversible or regulated. Segregation of duties goes further. Operators, reviewers, approvers, and auditors have distinct roles, making conflicts easier to detect. Overrides are allowed, but only by named people, under defined conditions, with clear justification. The record should capture the reason code, evidence, timestamp, actor, approval status, and downstream impact, so exceptions remain accountable and auditable. Explainability works best as a shared service, not a one-off report. When a model produces a prediction, the architecture also captures context. Input features, model version, attribution results, confidence, and decision metadata. That information feeds an explanation service, which can tailor outputs for developers, business reviewers, end users, auditors, or affected individuals. Some explanations summarize overall model behavior. Others answer, why was this specific decision made? The design must also enforce boundaries around privacy, sensitive data, intellectual property, and regulatory requirements, so explanations are useful, consistent, and safe to disclose. Explanations usually operate at two levels. A global explanation shows how the model tends to behave across many cases. It supports validation, governance, risk review, and stakeholder education through patterns such as feature importance, performance slices, or known limitations. A local explanation answers a narrower question. Why did this output happen here? It supports appeals, human review, and accountability for one person or transaction. Local evidence might include the strongest contributing factors, confidence, and what would need to change for a different outcome. Explanations become more useful when they connect a model result to concrete evidence. Feature attribution answers which signals mattered most. It might rank credit history, income stability, or property value by their contribution to the score. Example-based explanations add context by showing similar past cases, so reviewers can judge whether the model is behaving consistently. Counterfactual explanations go one step further. They describe what would need to change for a different outcome. The caution is privacy and fairness. Explanations should inform decisions without revealing sensitive attributes, proxies, or confidential training examples. To make explainability operational, it has to be built into the operating model. Model cards document what a model is for, where it performs well, where it should not be used, and what data or ethical assumptions matter. At runtime, each important prediction should create a decision record. The inputs, model version, output, explanation, reviewer action, and final outcome. Explanation APIs then make that information available consistently to applications, reviewer tools, and audit dashboards. Together, these pieces connect development, deployment, oversight, and compliance with evidence, not memory. Transparency is not a single disclaimer at the end of a process. It is a set of timely explanations that help people understand what role AI played, why a result was produced, where the system may be unreliable, and what data shaped the output. The key is proportionality. Give users enough information to make informed choices, and give stakeholders enough detail to govern the system responsibly. Good transparency avoids false confidence. It uses plain language, names uncertainty, protects confidential information, and appears when decisions are being made, not after trust has already been tested. Confidence scores are useful only when they are calibrated. An 82% score should mean the model is right about that often in comparable cases. Not that this answer is 82% true. When confidence drops or uncertainty is high, the system should change behavior, reject the output, route it to human review, or block automation. The rationale should also go beyond the model explanation. It should connect model signals with business rules and context. Good interfaces make uncertainty visible, show alternatives, and remind reviewers that judgment is still required. Think of transparency as an evidence chain, not a one-time explanation. In an AI-assisted loan review, the record should connect the applicant data, model and prompt version, output, explanation, human review, override rationale, and final decision. That chain can then feed stakeholder reports showing performance, exceptions, complaints, incidents, and whether risk controls are working. For audit or certification, evidence must be protected from tampering, access controlled, retained by policy, and easy to retrieve. Accountability becomes concrete when named owners can answer what happened, why, who approved it, and how issues were resolved. To close, governable AI is not created by the model alone. It comes from risk-based oversight, explanations that can be inspected, and transparency that stakeholders can act on. Those design controls now become operational controls through governed MLOps and LLMOps, monitoring, evaluation, and observability. Architect for decisions people can understand, challenge, and trust.